All right, today we're looking at the next part of factoring. Up until this point, we've been factoring out monomials, pulling out one single piece of this. And what we're going to look at is we're going to start factoring out more than one piece and pulling apart a trinomial. So with this trinomial, we've got basically 4 steps to do this. So if you want to take a second, write those down. You can pause the video if you need to. But I'm going to get going here pretty quick. So hit pause. All right, so step 1 is finding the factors of the constant. So remember, the constant is always the one at the end. So our 16 is considered our constant. And our factors of 16, so you kind of make a little chart. So 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. And I like to think of these as pairs. So if you're going to think about pairs, 1 times 16 gives you 16. 2 times 8 gives you 16. And, 4 times itself gives you 16. So that's the first piece. Picking out those constants. The next piece is to pick a pair that adds up to the middle term. So our middle term is 10x. So we have to pick 2 of these that add up to 10. And in this case, 1 and 16 is 17, so that doesn't work. 2 and 8 add up to 10, so that's the ones we're going to use. So we're going to use 2, and we're going to use 8. So we're choosing 2 and 8. All right, the next piece. Write out as a product of 2 expressions. So you've got 2 expressions here, and we're going to use our 2 and 8 and have them be part of the binomial at the end. So you have 2 and 8 there, and since we're using an x, we're going to use x in front, x at the end. Now this last piece is important, picking the appropriate sign. And how that you pick those is by looking at this sign right here. Okay. So if that is a plus, so if it's a plus sign or it's a positive, then you know it's either going to be negative, negative in your binomials, or positive, positive. Okay, so if it's a minus, then it's going to be a minus plus or a plus minus. So that's the 2 cases we have. In our case, we have a plus sign, so it's a plus 16. So we know that we're in this first set. So it's going to be a plus plus or a minus minus. Once you have that case figured out, you look at the next sign. So that's this plus sign here. If that's a positive, that means you're using plus plus. So plus plus. If it's a negative, it means you're using the minus minus. So that is the factor form. And then step 4 is to check to make sure that that works. So we're going to take x plus 2 and multiply it by x plus 8. So we do first multiply together is x squared. Outers is a plus 8x. Inners is a plus 2x. And then our last ends up being plus 16. We're going to combine our like terms in the middle. So x squared plus 10x plus 16. And we want to make sure that that ends up being what we started with. So we started with x squared plus 10x plus 16. And we ended with x squared plus 10x plus 16. So we've correctly factored this out. So you've got these 2 binomials. Now remember, from here you can do a couple things. You can figure out where its roots are by using the zero product property. So that gets you where it's crossing the x-axis, which is important. So that's kind of the key part of this. All right, and then a couple more. Oops. So a squared minus 5a plus 6. We're going to start out with that one. So first step, figure out what the factors of 6 are. So you have 1, 2, and 3, and 6. Figure out which ones of those add up to the middle term. So 2 and 3 add up to our middle term because those add to be 5. We look at step 3, which is writing them in terms of a binomial. So we're using a this time, 2 and 3 behind there. We look at our last sign, so that's the plus sign. So because it's plus, that means we're either going to have a minus minus or a plus plus. Then we look at our sign here, that's a minus. So that means we're going to choose minus. So minus minus. So minus minus. We've got that done. Now we just have to see if it's correct. So we FOIL that out. So first together, a squared. Outers is negative 3a. Inners is negative 2a. And my last give us plus 6. Combine these two like terms. So a squared minus 5a plus 6. And that matches up. So we know we did that right. So we know that this is the correct factorization. All right, so the next one. So we got power, we got a 10 at the end, so the factors of 10, so 1, 2, 5, 10. And we've got a 3 for our center term. Now, 1 and 10 don't add up to 3. 2 and 5 don't add up to 3. But, so when they add up, it's not always going to be an addition. It could be that they end up being a subtraction. So we could do 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 to get us to 3. So we're going to use 5 and 2 here because they can subtract to give you the 3 in the center. So we know that we've got our y's in front, so y and y to get you y squared. And we're using a 2 and a 5, so 2 here, 5 there. Our minus sign from our step 3 means that we're either going to do plus minus or minus plus. Now this is the tricky one to figure out which ones you need to use. So the way I always look at this is we know that it's a positive 3. So since it's positive 3, that means that we need to have our bigger number be the positive. So since we have our bigger number is 5, it's got to be a plus 5, and it's got to be a minus 2. And the way I'm thinking about that is a positive 5 minus a 2 gives you a positive 3. If we did it the other way, you'd have negative 5 plus 2 would give you a negative 3. We want it to be positive, so we want that 5 to be a plus. All right, so foiling that out gives us y squared plus 5y minus 2y minus 10. So y squared plus 3y minus 10. And that's what we started with. That's what we want to end with. Good. So there's our answer. These are our two binomials. All right. Let's look at the next two. The next two are yours to try on your own. So take a second, pause the video, try those two on your own, see how you do. Okay, so step 1, make sure we find our factors of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So we're looking for a set that adds up to be 7 in the center. So 3 and 4 is going to be my set. So I know I've got x, 3, and 4. And if we've got a plus sign here, we either have plus to work with or minus to work with. And the 7 is a positive, so that means I'm going to go plus. Trying that out, first gives you x squared. Outers gives you a plus 4x. Inners gives you plus 3x. And last gives you plus 12. So x squared plus 7x plus 12. So that works out. So here's your answer. All right, second one. Looking at those adding up. So factors of 8, 1, 2, 4, and 8. And we need a 9. So we're going to use 1 and 8 to get our 9. X is out front. And 1 and 8. And because we have our plus sign, which is a plus 8, we're going to do a positive because we have a plus there and a plus there. Foiling it out, x squared plus 8x plus 1, x plus 8. So x squared plus 9x plus 8, which is what we wanted. So we know our answer is right here. All right. So that's the basics of factoring. Tomorrow we're going to work on some of these in class. So we will see you tomorrow.